Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, and today we're going to do a slow, detailed playthrough of the first scenario of the new Arkham Horror the card game core set. In order to do this, I'm going to step by step talk about how we set up the game, as well as all the individual turns and what I would do. Clearly, I'm going to be shuffling decks and things will be random, so I'll talk through what all the cards mean, all the card types, and whatnot. I won't be sitting around reading the text of the cards that are flavor only. So, the intro to the story, some of the flavor text at the bottom of the cards, just in the interest of time. However, I will try to explain as best I can all of the various rules. Now, what I've done is shuffle together two decks that I've talked about previously on this channel as being better version of these starter decks. I've chosen Joe Diamond, who's right here, and Isabelle Barnes, who is right here. I'm going to be controlling both investigators, what is commonly called two-handed solo. Not the only way to play the game. Of course, most people will play it with multiple friends. So maybe you're playing two-player, three-player, etc. The game is a bit different when you can see all of the cards. And some people, of course, like playing just solo too, but I think it's most commonly played as a multiplayer game. All right. I will briefly show you the decks on the screen, but as I just stated, you can watch an entire video justifying the stuff that's in the decks. So first we're here looking at Isabelle Barnes, Izzy for short. This one I just talked about a few days ago on the channel, and she fulfills the role of fighter for the most part. She's going to have a few other tricks up her sleeve in terms of dealing with getting a few clues, but also passing tests as they come up. Kind of a utility player. But in particular, we care a lot about getting some weapons, and we care a lot about getting some skill cards that she can recur using her ability. Once that comes up, I'll read what her ability is, but as you can see here, she's got a stat line: 4 willpower, 3 intellect, 3 combat, and 3 agility. That is fairly flat, so she can do a little bit of everything if needed. Now, the other investigator is Joe Diamond. He has a very different stat line here: 2 willpower, 4 intellect, and 4 combat, just 2 agility, where he's really good at doing things the game wants you to do to progress. That is, getting clues and fighting enemies. So, to that end, especially with his ability, which is after you successfully investigate, draw 1 card, I want him to be getting a lot of clues. I want him to be doing a lot of investigations, and if the need arises, he can fight some enemies. So I am not playing him like the main character, so to speak. I think Isabelle is going to do some good work too, but often in Arkham Horror, the card game, what you need to do is get clues, and I think Joe does that better than anyone else. That's Joe. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rule book about how we set up the board and everything related to the beginning of the scenario. Now, the campaign guide itself, or rather the Learn to Play, gives you instructions for setting up the game in a more detailed way, but actually after that in the rules reference, it talks about how to set up the game just in general, not just for this first scenario. First thing that we do is choose the investigators, which we have done. I've also, built those decks. I've given them a random basic weakness. And for Joe, he rolled Paranoia, which makes him lose all his resources. And for Izzy, she has Pursued, which is after an enemy enters, which is moving into or spawns at your location, take 1 horror, with 2 actions to discard it. When these cards come up, we'll talk about them more. So we've done that. Number 2, take Trauma, Damage, or Horror. In campaign play, each player places damage equal to their physical trauma and horror equal to their mental trauma on their investigator card. We do not have any trauma just beginning this campaign. So they start with no damage, no horror on them. When we take damage or horror, that will accumulate tokens on them. One thing that some people may miss is that you don't start with 7 damage or 7 horror on you and remove. Your health is just the number printed here, and you take damage and horror and place tokens there. Once the number is reached, if you have damage tokens equal to your health or horror tokens equal to your sanity, that's when you get defeated. But counting up is really the way to go, not counting down. Different from some other games. Next, we'll choose a lead investigator. That can be Joe Diamond. So we'll take the lead investigator token, put it in front of him. We have assembled and shuffled the investigator decks. Great. Shuffle each of these decks. And you can't see the Chaos Bag composition completely. It's behind my head here. I can duck out of the way, but I have made the campaign setup here for standard difficulty. So there is a +1 token. There are 2 0 tokens. There are 3 -1 tokens, 2 -2 tokens, a -3, a -4, 2 skulls, a tablet, Elder Thing, Auto Fail, and Elder Sign. Okay. In the rules reference, it actually gets this a little bit wrong about which token is in there, but for Brethren of Ash, we include 1 tablet, 1 Elder Thing. Okay. We've done that. Collect starting resources. Each investigator gains 5 resources from the token pool. We start with 5 resources. We now draw opening hands. Each player draws 5 cards. Each player may mulligan any cards in their opening hand once. Each weakness card drawn during this step is ignored, set aside without resolving it, and replaced by drawing another card from the deck. Upon completion of this step, shuffle each of the set-aside weakness cards back into their owner's deck. That is, you can never begin with a weakness in your opening hand. Not by choice, not by just drawing it. We'll do Joe first. Okay, he indeed ended up with a weakness in his hand, so we're going to immediately just put this aside. I'll put it here, and draw another card to replace it. Okay, let's talk through some strategy now. I really want Joe to be getting clues. The best way to do that is to have some kind of asset that gives me a bonus for getting clues. And I think the hand crank flashlight is going to do just that. It lets us investigate using our intellect. We get +1 skill value for that. And there's also some other text here about discarding the flashlight to make the shroud easier for everyone until the end of the round. We may or may not need to use that. Right now, I just want a repeatable source of investigate at an extra +1. This is also extremely cheap. I want to keep this. Our other cards. We have working a hunch. Just 2 resources to discover a clue without any investigation. Not bad, but probably not what I want at the beginning of a scenario. Something I can draw into. Remember that Joe Diamond, after he successfully investigates, which is not just discovering clues, it's taking the investigate action, draw a card. This I'm hoping to do every single round, if I can. If I do this, then I'll be drawing lots of cards, and I can draw into cards that I don't think I need at the beginning of the scenario. I really want things like assets and potentially a weapon if we're going to fight at all, which this deck has some of. We want assets that help us do investigations and maybe some soak for dealing with the mythos phase. That is, cards that allow us to assign it damage or horror and not just have to assign it to Joe Diamond's investigator card. So I don't think I need skill cards either, even though Overpower, Vicious Blow, those are both very good cards. And this other event that gets us clues to Scene of the Crime is probably not as relevant at the beginning. I want to draw into these later. So what I'm going to do is put these all aside and draw 4 more cards to replace them. This is my new opening hand. Okay, this is much better. I have a skill card that lets us get extra clues. I have a magnifying glass, which lets us, well, investigate at a +2 when combined with the hand crank flashlight. I can play them both. We also have a laboratory assistant. This is a ally that lets us draw even more cards, but also keep more cards in hand. I also like the 1 health, 2 sanity soak that card provides. I'm going to group all these cards back together, shuffle them back in, and we have completed that part of setup. Now we're going to do with Izzy. Now, I don't necessarily have knowledge of what Joe did, but probably Izzy wants to find a weapon. Have we done that? We have not. Okay, she has an Overpower, a skill card that is very good and can be reused with her investigator ability. Now is a good time to look at that. During a skill test that you're performing, take 1 direct horror, commit an eligible skill from the discard pile, from your discard pile, to this test. After the test resolves, shuffle that card into your deck. So we're looking for skill cards in the discard pile to use them basically a second time. I have 2 skills here, Overpower and Soul Link, and the usual rule of don't have skills in your opening hand might still be true here because I'm still looking for a weapon, but it's not the slam dunk of I don't need these things. It wouldn't be so bad to have them in a discard pile earlier rather than later. Alexei Saburov. I believe this is our only ally in the deck. What he does for us, for a cost of 3 resources, is let us heal damage or horror from him. So when I take some extraneous damage or horror, I can put it here instead of on Isabelle. Isabelle has only 5 health. She has a lot of sanity, but that's mostly for her ability. I want to put the horror that she's not taking from her ability onto Alexi. We're going to start with him because I think that seems pretty good to just not have to worry about for the rest of the game. Our final 2 assets here are bandages, which lets us heal some damage if we've taken it. Could be from anyone. Could be from Joe. Could be from Izzy. It's not a bad card. I'm not sure I want to keep it here just because I'm really looking for something to deal with a real threat of an enemy. And then finally, we have a Cloak of Resonance. This could potentially deal some damage to an enemy. When horror is placed on Cloak of Resonance, exhaust it, deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. I have a way with the Soul Link of taking horror that gets placed on the Cloak of Resonance if I wish. So it's kind of like a weapon, but it's not a real weapon. The real weapons in my deck are the Broken Bottle and the Meat Cleaver. So we're going to take a bit of a risk and mulligan back all 4 of these cards. I don't think they're worth starting with in our opening hand, especially since I'm intending on playing Alexi, and he costs 3 resources also. So let's draw 4 more cards. And we have not found a weapon. That's a bit unfortunate, but that's the way the game goes sometimes, and we might need to draw some cards to get our way out of this. We have instead 2 copies of Manual Dexterity, which will help us evade, probably fine, and then Hunter's Instinct, which lets us get events back from the discard pile. Right now, we don't have any events. There's also the Timely Intervention, which will help us pass skill tests even after we've seen the card, or the token rather, from the bag. Okay, it's not the best thing we've ever seen, but we're going to have to make do. Next, we will read the scenario introduction in the campaign guide. Here it is, Brethren of Ash. I'm not going to read the introduction, but it's there. It's pretty short, actually. And I believe this is also going to include the actual first scenario here, Scenario 1, Spreading Flames. We're going to gather all of these encounter sets together. This has already been done for us. It is in the encounter deck just like this. All of these cards are going to be in those particular encounter sets. For example, Spreading Flames is the name of the scenario, so all of the cards that are specific to the scenario have that little icon on it. For example, this scenario reference card, which we'll come back to later. That is the same symbol there. That is true of the Act and Agenda cards, which are also now been put into play for us. They have that same symbol. For the other ones here, we're looking for the encounter sets that have already been organized for you if you're playing this in person. Something like the Bystander set here has the guy with the hat. That symbol there is the Bystander's symbol as well. Okay, other parts of scenario setup, it says, is to put the Your Friend's Room location card into play. This card here also has the Spreading Flames encounter set icon. So we'll be starting there. It's the only location in play, of course. So we can not look at the rest of the encounter deck. That's fine. We'll shuffle it. Next step here is that we are supposed to set all 5 copies of the Fire Treachery aside. These are treacheries that are part of the Fire encounter set, but I guess we should look at the encounter deck again. The Noxious Smoke also is part of that encounter set. So we're told to split those encounter cards up. And then over here, we can see that the Fire treacheries are set aside, along with other things that we were told to set aside. So, yeah, set all 5 copies of Fire Treachery aside out of play, along with Dr. Henry Armitage and Servant of Flame. Shuffle the remaining encounter cards to create the encounter deck. That doesn't include the Miskatonic University locations that are not just this one, so those are set aside as well. Great, we've shuffled the deck. You are now ready to begin. Let's go back to this. We've now performed step 10, which is performing the scenario setup. We will set the agenda deck, which is assembling all of the cards with agenda on them in order. This is agenda 1A. I believe there are 2 more agenda cards that are underneath this. This is a stack of cards. Same is true for the act deck, which is next. Assemble the act deck in sequential order with the art side face up so that act 1A is on top, and we're going to read the story text here as well and the objective. So we'll do that in a second, but this is a stack of 4 cards. All right. Place the scenario reference card next to the agenda deck. This tells us what the modifiers are of these special tokens. This skull token says -X. X is the current act number. That is going to be 1 for now, but later it'll be 2, 3, and 4. So these numbers are going to be applied when we draw these tokens from the chaos bag during a skill test. If we draw, for example, a skull, we check the act number and say, aha, this is now a -1 modifier to our test. The tablet token is -1 all the time, but also reveal another token. If you fail, take 1 damage. So this is just an effect that happens if you end up failing the skill test, not just from the -1, but from all the modifiers added together. So if you draw the tablet token followed by the skull in the first act, that'll be a -2 in total. The elder thing is a -3. If you fail by 2 or more, so now we're comparing your skill value with the test difficulty after the modifiers have all been added up. Draw the topmost copy of fire in the encounter discard pile if able. Right now, there aren't any in the discard pile, which is here, so that would not do anything other than just probably make us fail a test if we are not up by 3 on the difficulty. Now, this is the easy/standard side. If you want to play hard, then we change some things up a bit. So no longer is the X just equal to the act number, but rather it's 1 more for the skull. The tablet is -2, same rest of text. And the other thing is -4, rest of the text is still the same. So it's a little bit harder, but not too bad. We'll be playing on standard though. Remember, if you're playing on hard, there will be different tokens in the bag in terms of what the numerical values are. That whole part changes too. Okay. I think we're now ready. So what we'll do is take a look at the act and agenda. I will mention that the doom threshold on the agenda is 3. This means that when we have doom equal to that number and we're in the mythos phase where we are asked to check the doom threshold in order to advance the agenda, then this agenda can advance. It potentially happens outside the mythos phase too, but that is less likely. Okay, so it's not just how much doom is in play, but rather when the check doom threshold step happens. Okay. The act says that we need 4 clues. This is 2 times the number of investigators that started the game. Not that are in the game currently, but that started the game, which is 2. So 2 times 2, 4. Now, we can't just spend these clues whenever we want. We have to do that at the end of the round. At the end of the round, investigators may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Let's go ahead and put these rules a little bit over here out of the way. And we're going to now finally reveal the starting location, your friend's room. This has a shroud of 2. That's the number that is in white above the black background on the left. That is the difficulty of the test if I ever want to investigate. That's the base difficulty. Other things can change that. Remember, we saw the hand crank flashlight, which could change this to a -1 shroud, potentially. There's a number of clues listed, 2 times the number of investigators, so there are 4 clue tokens here. And there's an ability here to engage. As an action, chooses an enemy at a connecting location. That enemy moves this location and engages you. This action does not provoke attacks opportunity. You may remember or may not remember that there's only a few different actions that do not provoke attacks opportunity. Those actions are fight, evade, parlay, and resign. Those are the only 4. However, sometimes other cards will tell you that that particular action does not provoke an attack of opportunity. One thing that is often missed is that engage on itself, by itself there, does not mean it's protected from attacks of opportunity. That's why it's good that this action then tells us that it doesn't provoke attacks. Okay. Let's actually play the game, huh? So what I want to do is be able to get the clues in probably the first couple of turns. I think Joe can do pretty well here. So we're going to go ahead and play a few of the things that we want. It's always good to put some assets into play. His base is 4. If you take a look at the chaos tokens, being up by 1, and let's go the other way, is pretty good. So he is already up 2. on getting clues. I think I can make that better just to beat other tokens in the bag, particularly the -3s. So I can either play as an action the hand crank flashlight, or I can just throw out the magnifying glass, which pretty much does the same thing, but it's fast, meaning it does not cost me an action. I don't spend any actions to play it. So it's likely a good idea to just play this out first. This doesn't cost an action, and now I have +1 intellect while investigating. All right. One other thing I want to think about is that my weakness, paranoia, makes me lose all of my resources when I draw it. I could just draw a bunch of cards and I might hit it. One thing I could do is play this laboratory assistant as my first action and just start drawing some more cards. Not a bad idea, just to have that on the board. So let's go ahead and do that. This is my first action. I'm going to spend 2 resources for this, getting me down to 2. This also, now when it enters play, or after I played it rather, I will draw 2 cards. All right, I have now an unexpected courage and a scene of the crime. This card, by the way, is a play action that does not provoke text opportunity. It says that right at the bottom of the text box. If we need to play this later, we'll talk about it. But for now, I think I just want to do an investigation. So here I'm taking my skill value, which is a base of 4 plus 1 from the magnifying glass, and I'm going to investigate your friend's room, which is a shroud of 2. So I'm testing at a 5, that's my number, to a 2, that's the game's number, and now I need to pull a chaos token. Okay, I've pulled a skull, which is -1, the current act number indeed. So I succeed. I am going to, after I successfully investigate, draw 1 card. This is once per round. I'm going to flip that to make it clear that I have. Okay, now I've started to draw those skills that we saw earlier today. Now, after I successfully investigate, one of the results of this investigation, and the only one in this case, is to discover 1 clue. I take it from this location. It is now in my area. Great. I think we can do this 1 more time. Again, I have 5. The game has 2. I have drawn an auto-fail token. So that means my skill is dropped to 0 and I fail the test. Nothing I can do about that with this deck. But I did get to use my reaction this turn, so not so bad. A little bit slower than I would like. I could, since it's still my turn, play this working a hunch. But for 2 resources, a 2-shroud location, I don't think it's worth it. I would rather save this for a location that's harder to investigate. If we start getting pressed on time, we might change our mind later. And now we get to Izzy. Isabelle is looking for a weapon. We could just start drawing some cards and see if we have one. What I'd like to do before the end is probably play Alexi. So let's go ahead and just draw a card for our first action. We've found a weapon. Congratulations, Izzy. This costs us 4 resources. That is a lot. So I can't play both Isabelle's twin 45s and Alexi this round, since I've already taken 1 action. I think I do want to play them just to have something out here. So let's go ahead and spend our 4 resources and have a weapon. This comes in with 6 ammo on it, 6 uses. We have 2 abilities here. The action ability is to spend an ammo to fight using combat, getting +1, dealing +1 for the attack. And there's a reaction. If I want to basically deal more damage with the single action I spent, I can exhaust Isabelle's twin 45s, spend the ammo, fight using agility this time. Okay, that's whether or not I pass the first test. So it is a nice little backup, essentially. Now I have 2 good cards here for doing agility tests, so that is not a bad choice. For our last action, we're going to do a basic resource action. That's one of our possible actions. And the reason why is I expect that next round, I want to play Alexei Saburov. When I get my 1 resource during upkeep, I will have enough to spend next round. Okay, we have finished the investigation phase. All of our actions have been used. We move on to the enemy phase. Enemies at this point would move if they're hunters and attack if they're then engaged with an enemy, a investigator. None of that is true. There's no enemies on the board. We move on to upkeep phase. Now we ready all of our cards, including enemies on the board or other treacheries that are not ready. And then at the final part of that, we're going to each draw a card and then gain a resource. Okay, we have an overpower over here, and we are going to get over on Izzy her weakness, pursuit. So revelation means that I need to resolve this right away. I put this into play in my threat area. There is a forced ability that says after an enemy enters, which means moves into or spawns at your location, I automatically just take a horror. Now, I really wanted to place that onto Alexi for that reason, but I am not going to. Couldn't play him in time. We do have two actions where we can discard pursued. This is a treachery, and that means that other players can interact with it as long as they're at the same location. Unlikely here because I think Joe Diamond has plenty to do, but if he didn't, he could help Izzy out by spending two of his actions to discard pursued, as long as he's at the same location. All right, that is the end of the round. We are now going to move on to the Mythos phase, starting a new round. Let's shuffle the encounter deck in case we didn't do that before. We're going to place one Doom on the current agenda, so there's now 1 out of 3. We check to see if that is the threshold. It is not. And then we're going to take an encounter card piece. So Joe will take the first one. It is a bystander. Okay, this is a 1/1/1 enemy that has the Doom keyword on it. When this enemy is defeated, place one Doom on the current agenda. This effect can cause the current agenda to advance. Hey, that's what I was talking about earlier, where, remember, the number of Doom in play doesn't matter until we have to check the threshold. And this says here that the effect of putting the Doom on the current agenda could cause the current agenda to advance. That's basically the same idea. Okay, we also have to resolve immediately that Izzy takes one horror because an enemy has entered her location. Now, the bystander has a way of getting rid of itself. We don't really want to kill him, and that's on the agenda deck itself. We can parlay testing 2 to intellect. If you succeed, discard a bystander enemy at your location. All right. Mutated. Revelation. Test 2 willpower. This test gets +2 difficulty if there's an enemy at your location. Good job, game. If you fail, you must either take 2 damage or each investigator location takes 1 horror. Okay, Izzy has a 4 already, so we're testing even. In this game, being even is bad. That's not likely to pass you a test because we need to pull a chaos token. However, if we pulled a 0, that's one of these guys over here, we would be matching the skill test difficulty. You don't need to beat the skill test difficulty, you just need to match it. But it's unlikely I draw one of those 4 tokens, right? The most likely I'm going to draw one of the -1s or one of these other worse tokens. Now, what I can do with Izzy is I can think about this timely intervention card, which has a willpower and a wild icon on it. I can commit this from my hand after revealing chaos tokens. So if I draw a -2 or a -1 with nothing else committed, then I could commit this and pass the test. Now, my other options for committing to a skill test are anything else that has a matching icon. Just Alexi. I don't really want to use Alexi for this. That would put him in the discard pile, and I can't get him back that easily. Joe could help. He can commit 1 card from his hand to Izzy's test because he's at the same location. I'm looking at Unexpected Courage. That would do it. Essentially, this would make it so I can beat anything except for the autofail. But I think I want to use that card for Joe in case he runs into a problem. So taking 1 horror piece or is probably fine. I don't think that's that bad. So we're going to test 4 all. Okay, we have the -2. Now we have to make that decision. Do I commit the timely intervention or do we just take 1 horror piece? I don't think I'm taking the 2 damage. That seems very bad. I think we're going to take the horror piece. So Joe's going to take a horror and he's going to place it on the laboratory assistant. Whenever you take horror or damage, as long as it's not direct, you can choose to put it on an asset you control. Izzy has no such luck, so she's going to take the 1 horror directly. One thing that Izzy has going for her is if she ever draws the Elder Sign, then she can heal the horror back. So I'm not too upset about this. I'm more upset about the pursued. Okay, so on this turn, what we're probably going to try to do is parlay away this bystander and get a few more clues. For Izzy, she probably wants to play Alexi and get rid of Pursuit. So let's do it that way. She's going to spend 2 of her own actions to get rid of Pursued, goes in the discard pile, and then 3 of her own resources and play Alexei Sagarov. All right. Extremely rude to have taken 2 horror during the Mythos phase before Alexei came into play, but that's the game. Okay. Now for Joe, we can also play the -2 game and say, if we do this parlay, we're probably going to pass. And I'd rather save my cards for maybe some more important things. Even though I can see that this working a hunch has 2 intellect icons that would help, and I could use the unexpected courage. I'm going to bank on the 3 and 4 chance or so that I don't need those cards. So we'll take an action to do that. Okay, great. -1. My skill test is 3 to 2. I pass, discards the bystander. Into the discard pile you go. Next, because we wasted a bit of time, I think I really want to get a few more clues. So I'd like to commit this deduction, even though this is an easy test. It's just saving us on some actions. So now I've got 6. I have 4 base, +1 from deduction. And if I succeed, I get 2 clues. All right, let's try that. Got the skull again. So I first draw a card, because this is after you successfully investigate, before the results, just then. Okay, I immediately resolve my paranoia. I'm going to lose all my resources. Goodbye, resources. Nice thing here is that I wasn't really spending them on much right now. I could have, at the beginning of this round, played the scene of the crime, because that would have gotten me 2 clues, and those resources would have been gone. But I didn't think I needed to do that, just because I thought I could hold on my resources for longer. I still get the 2 clues. That's my second action. We'll make the resources back up, Joe. Don't worry. And then we're going to take 1 more investigate action. That's all we're kind of doing here at 5 on 2. There's the 0. Okay. We have all the clues. So at the end of the round, we could spend them to advance. Probably no reason not to, right? Let's go ahead and do that after upkeep. Card and resource. And now we'll go ahead and advance. So we're going to spend all of our clues. That just puts them back in the token pool. And then we read the next part. All right. Tells us to discard each enemy in play. Put the set-aside dormitories and Miskatonic quad locations into play. They're here. Dormitories. Miskatonic quad. And now we have more locations on the board. So there are some connections here. This is connected to triangle, which is the dormitories. Dormitories is connected to both spade and the plus sign. Keep reading. Spawn the set-aside servant of flame enemy at the dormitories. That's this guy. He's a big enemy. He's got 4 fight, 10 health here, 5 times 2, and 4 evade. He's got hunter, prey, lowest agility. So if there's ever a case where we don't know who he's going to actually engage with, then the tiebreaker will be prey, lowest agility. That would be Joe here. So if nothing changed and I just had the both investigators sitting here, the hunter would move in here during the enemy phase, only the enemy phase, and then attack just Joe. Okay. And retaliate means that if we fight this enemy and the enemy is ready and I fail the test, he is going to attack that investigator who did the failed test, which is quite a bit. 2 damage and 2 horror is not nothing. In fact, it's a lot. Okay. Attach 1 set-aside copy of Fire to your friend's room. That's going to be this card. And now this is a card that's attached here. So this effects are going to be affected to the attached location. So we drew it, which attaches it here. Forced, when the investigation phase ends, each non-elite card with health at this location takes 1 direct damage. That includes your investigator card. It has health. And any other assets, like the laboratory system. So potentially we would take a lot of damage. There is a test to get rid of it, testing 3 agility. Anyone who's at this location can do that test because, again, you can interact with encounter cards such as treacheries, when they're at the same location as you. If you succeed, discard it. Next, place each other set-aside copy of fire in the encounter discard pile. That's the other 4. They're going to sit there. Remember that Elder Thing token? Now we have some copies of fire in the discard pile. That's it for here. We then get to move on to looking at the next act card. We're going to move those skulls up to being -2s. We're in Act 2. And the objective is, if each undefeated investigator is at Miskatonic Quad, advance. Hint, sometimes it's better to run than to fight. In fact, that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to sneak by the Servant Flame, evade him, and get to the Miskatonic Quad. Can't do that yet. We need to move on to the beginning of the Methos phase, which is the next round, placing 1 Doom on the current agenda. We get an encounter card, Extraplanar Visions. This is testing willpower or intellect X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. If you fail, take 1 damage and discard 1 card at random from your hand. Not too bad. However, I think we could maybe try to do a little bit of something here. This is a test of 7 right now. We have 7 cards in our hand. If I commit the Unexpected Courage, that will put us to a 6-6, because now there's only 6 cards in my hand. This difficulty changes as soon as I commit cards. I can commit more. We could throw down this other magnifying glass. That gets us to 7 on 5, and that feels pretty good. Let's try that. A +1. Well, I would have passed on almost anything then. Didn't have to commit things, but you'd have to hedge your bets a bit. Hey, it's the same thing for Izzy. Izzy has 5 cards in hand. We're testing willpower because that's Izzy's better stat. I only have 4. But we do have the timely interventions, which kind of do funny stuff here, right? So let's go ahead and just test and see what happens. 4 on 5. Okay, this is interesting. -3. So I have 4 minus 3 is 1. I have 1, 2, 5. If I fail by 2 or more, we're going to be drawing some fire. Do I want to spend any of these to either pass the test or avoid the fire? Wow, we have some math to do. Let's just try out. If we did this, then we are getting +2. So I would have had 6 minus 3 is 3, 3 to 4. So doing one of these means that I do not pass or do not fail by 2. However, I still fail, meaning that I take a damage and discard another card, which could very well be this other timely intervention. So one thing I could do, of course, is just try to pass by committing both. I cannot. Max 1 committed per skill test. So we can only do this to avoid the fire. I can also just keep this in hand, fail anyway, take the damage, and draw the fire. What does the fire do here? It would place another fire treachery down at the dorms, because when you draw it, it goes to the nearest location without fire. Interesting decision. This is what's fun about Arkham Horror, the card game, is I have played this scenario a lot, and this is a very interesting decision. Another thing to think about is that Izzy can commit things from the discard pile. So using 1, discarding a random card isn't the worst thing in the world. How much do I want to worry about the fire? Ideally, what happens on this turn is we move, evade, move. If that doesn't work, we're in a world of hurt. Okay, I think we're going to just fail this outright. So we're going to draw the topmost fire treachery in the counter discard pile. It's going to go here to the dorms. And then we're going to take a damage, put it onto Alexi, who heals at the beginning of our turn. And we're going to get a random card. All right, I'm going to just, for dramatic effect here, shuffle these all together, and we'll just discard the top card. It is a timely intervention. All right. Sorry about that. That goes over here. Um, Fine. I think that is okay. So now we could use our ability to get it back, but I wish we had lost something else. Well, that was wild. Okay. So really what we want to do here as Izzy is move in here, take an evade. Our evade is not too good here, right? We're going to be up by 1 with our manual dexterity. We might even commit this hunter's instinct as well and just hope that we can pass with this other timely intervention. That's the best I can do. If it doesn't work out, we're going to have some problems. Okay. So she takes her first action to move. One other thing she could do, and I'm not sure it's worth it because of the fire, she could use the engage action, evade, and move. Right. That doesn't work, right? Because of the fire. Otherwise, it probably would. Okay. So we move here. Dormitories have 2 clues on them. 3 shroud, action to heal 1 damage and 1 horror. Limit once per game. These limits are by investigator. If Izzy does this, then so can Joe. But only each of them can do it once per game. All right. We're not at a good start here, but we're going to try to do an evade. This puts us up 1, and this is going to put us up 2. So an evade test is the number over on the right, the one next to the boots, the green number. And we have 3. We have 4, 5. We have 6. 6 to 4. Action 2. Alexi, by the way, heals. Beginning of the turn. All right. -2 is good. We do evade the Servant of Flame. We're going to draw a card from our manual dexterity, and now it's in the discard pile. And hey, we've got something else to fight with, I guess. Can't play this because our twin 45s take up 2 hand slots, but it's fine. In our third action, we want to get out of here because of the fire. We move. We're now in the Miskatonic Quad. During your turn, if there are exactly 1 or 2 investigators in the game, move to a connecting location. This one's a group limit. So this one, each of us could do per game. This one, only one of us can do per round. A free move doesn't spend an action. Pretty good. Joe's going to move twice. That is what Joe does for the beginning of his turn. And now that we're both here, we must advance. Let's go ahead and advance. All right, we're going to search all in play and all out of play areas for the Servant of Flame, heal all damage from them, and set them aside out of play. All right, just throw them there for now. Discard each enemy in play. Aren't any. Discard all tokens and attachments from your friend's room, including the fire, and remove your friend's room from the game. Put each remaining set-aside location, or in library, science hall, or in library, or in observatory, rather, into play. There they are. Anything else? No. So Joe's taken only 2 actions, just move and move. So he's going to go check out a different location and try to get some clues. We have a free move. Let's go ahead and check out this one, Science Hall. All right. 2 shroud, 2 clues. Forced. After you discover 1 or more clues at Science Hall, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. This card has a victory point on it. If we are able to discover all the clues, and at the end of the game there are no clues on this location, then we get a victory point. Very cool. I forgot to look at the next act. All right, we're searching for Dr. Armitage. Objective: at the end of the round, investigators at Orin Library may spend the requisite clues as a group to advance. We need 6. We're probably going to get 2 here, 2 here, and you guessed it, maybe 2 there. We could always think about going back to the dorms, but with that fire, not sure. Okay, we have 1 remaining action to try to get a clue. We could also just sort of wait on this and say, well, our scene of the crime could get us 2 clues, but this is a low shroud location. I think we can just brute force investigate here. I am at 5. Skulls now, by the way, are at -3. 5 to 2. Our good friend, the +1. Okay. We will draw a card with our reaction. Should have happened before. And overpower. Okay, Joe could probably do some damage if an enemy shows up. So we're feeling okay about that. Don't have the resources for the working a hunch. Don't want it anyway. Upkeep, player order. Hey, there's a deduction. And a second broken bottle. Don't love that. We finally are going to advance this agenda. We've done very, very well on time. We have enough Doom in play. We are going to remove all Doom in play, including on the agenda, flip this, and take some tests. In player order, each investigator tests 3 willpower. If you fail, take a horror. What is Joe going to do? He's going to fail this test. Yeah, there's the -4. I was willing the +1 into existence, and I did not pass that test. All right, this is a -1. This is a pass for Izzy. She does not take any horror. Even if she did, I would have been okay putting it on Alexi. All right, moving on. We do take an encounter card as usual, but let's look at our second agenda. 5 Doom to advance, same parlay. Noxious Smoke. Neither of these are good for Joe. Let's see if we can commit anything. We're testing willpower or agility 3. Take 1 damage for each point you failed by. Maximum of 3 points. If I draw the -4 here, I'm still only taking 3 damage. Now, what do we got on icons? We have intellect, 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 combat, 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 and intellect. Guess what? We have nothing to do about this. Let's take our test. It doesn't matter if we're picking willpower or agility. Ah, there's the +1. All right. Good job, Joe. We take no damage because we have met the difficulty of the test. Izzy, a Hellhound. 2 combat, 3 health, 4 agility. Hunter. After Hellhound attacks you during the enemy phase, which we hope never happens, choose and discard 1 asset you control. That's a little tough. 1 health, 1 damage, and 1 horror if it does attack. All right. So at this point, we can say, I guess we start firing with these twin 45s. But we have another option. We could let Joe help out. So I think we do. Okay, so this is hopefully one action to get the clue. 2 actions to move back. Use the free move again to go to the Warren Observatory, and we get the clues there. So probably Joe's not going to help. So what Izzy should do is go first, and in case things go awry, we do get help from Joe. So we'll take our first action. This is to fight at 4-2 with the Hellhound. We're going to spend our ammo. I believe we should go ahead and commit our broken bottle. Mostly because that gets us to 5. Up 3 beats the skulls. So let's go ahead and do that. That the +1 again. This does +1 damage. So that's that. The problem with using the bottom ability is it's doing too much damage. So what can I do about that? If I had an unexpected courage or a soul link in my discard pile, I might think about using it. But alas, I cannot. I think it's probably better for me just to start using these bullets and not worry about anything else. Let's go ahead and use the other one. So we exhaust this and fight at 4-on-2. I'm not going to use my manual dexterity. I want to save that for later. If I fail this, I'm not so worried. I do fail this. Sure. Let's commit this and pass the test. My last 2 actions are probably going to be to draw some cards. Even though I love this card in my hand, I think I'd like to find some other stuff now. So let's draw a card. Interesting. Not good enough yet. We'll draw another card. Ah, our Soul Link. Okay. Feel a little safer now. Joe. Investigate. It's what you do best. 5-2. An Elder Sign, our first one. A +1. And the effect is, if you succeed, draw a card, gain a resource. First thing we do is draw a card from our ability. Ta-da. Gather intel. Draw more cards, Joe. That's what you do. I'm worried about his weakness, which requires him to have a bunch of resources in hand now. But then we do our Elder Sign effect, which is draw a card and gain a resource. So we'll get a resource and draw another card. A machete. I am allowed to have 10 cards in hand. Remember, our lab assistant does do something. We'll grab our clue. For our second action, we move here. Ideally, we move to a new location, throw a deduction out, maybe some other icons, and then we've done really well. So let's do that. You know what we forgot to do? We forgot to choose and discard a card from our hand. Whoopsie. Well, we've got a lot of cards. What would we have done last time? I think we would have gotten rid of the hand crank. And this time, we're going to get rid of an overpower. Okay. Let's go ahead and move here. And then we take that first free move to Warren Observatory. This is a 3-shroud location. Has the reverse effect. After you discover one or more clues, draw one card. Once per round. This one was every time. So, as I said, let's go ahead and commit our deduction. We have 5. We have 6 to 3. Feel pretty good about that. The -3 token lets us pass both clues. We will draw a card. Perception. Okay. Joe is making quick work of this scenario. Okay, let's go to upkeep. No enemies on the board. Detective Intuition. Joe Diamond deck only. Gain 2 resources and heal a damage or horror. Reaction after you draw Detective's Intuition during your turn. 1 off. Reveal it and draw 2 additional cards. So that will just stay in our hand. And overpower Frazee. 1 doom on the agenda. Again, we're moving real quick. Forbidden Secrets. I do have clues. This does not gain Surge. We're going to test 3 intellect. For each point you fail by, you must either place one of your clues on the location or take a horror. I don't really want to drop these clues. So I could start committing some things. Probably this perception. This gets me to 6 to 3. If I fail by 1, which would happen with the -4, I'll probably just take the horror. If I didn't have any clues, I would have to take all the horror, but I do. That is a -3. We pass exactly. So that means I will draw a card. Performing Investigator draws 1 card. That's me. Hand crank is back. All right. Isabelle gets a mutated experiment. We've run into the same problem as before with a 3 health enemy. So, what can we do here? We have the overpower. We have the Soul Link. Do we waste all the bullets? Does Joe come over and help with the vicious blow, maybe? Same position as last time. We want to be at the end of the round at the Orn Library. Is it better for Izzy to just hold on a second and Joe to help out with this test? Probably is the case. So, Joe, just come on over here. And maybe we could play some stuff. We can heal that horror up. We can gain some more resources. Let's do that. We're going to gain 2 resources and heal that horror. That's action 2. And then we might even play this machete in case we draw more enemies. Let's do that. I think that feels okay, given that our weakness might pop up and we should have enough money for it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start with this first action, spending a resource, an ammo rather. We're going at 3. We're going to go 4, 5 with +1 from here, 5 to 3, and then we'll throw in this overpower. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3. -1. That is a success. We're going to draw a card. Good. And then both of us will take one horror. When this enemy is defeated, each investigator takes one horror. That's fine. We just healed it, and Mr. Sabarov can take the other one. Great. All these cards go in the discard pile. Izzy has a couple more actions. This is probably where we're going to play the bandages, just in case. And then an emergency cash, last action to get those resources back. Okay. Let's go to upkeep. There's the dead ends. Just talked about this. This needs to be played before the end of the game. So we need one more resource to play it. More bandages for Izzy. 2 of 5. A wild compulsion. We're going to test 3 willpower. For each point you fail by, you must either discard a card at random from your hand or lose a resource. Well, both of those aren't great. Here's an interesting thing, though. If we fail this test and we discard cards randomly from our hand, there is let's say we fail by 3, there's a 50-50 shot at us discarding the dead ends. So how badly do we want the rest of the cards? Honestly, not that badly. Okay, fail by 3. 1, 2, 3. See ya! Weaknesses cannot be chosen to be discarded, but when it is a random discard, eligible for a random discard. All right. Sometimes the game likes you. Oh no, sometimes the game doesn't like you. Okay. I think this time we're gonna have to use the both abilities here, I think. As for Joe, he can just start drawing some more cards because an enemy entered this location. Spend our one resource, and draw 2 cards. Okay. Nice little engine he's got. So he needs to move, get those 2 clues, and spend them at the end of the round. The mutated experiment could be evaded, but probably not a great idea. If Joe goes first, he'll avoid the extra horror. So let's go ahead and send him on his way. He'll take the free move. And a 4 Shroud. Here's where the working hunch might be a good idea. What we're going to do is first take and investigate at 5, 6. So committing this hand crank flashlight. 6 to the game's 4. Up 2 isn't great. What about if we spend this laboratory assistance icon as... Nope. This is a willpower icon. You got me there. They changed it from chapter 1. I could throw unexpected courage. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8 to 4. The +1 really is toying with me, huh? We will draw our card, and then we will get our clue. My plan was to then play the working hunch to fast get the last clue. I do have the ability to draw some more cards right here, and in fact, I have nothing else to do with my turn, so we'll do that. We've seen our weaknesses. I think we're okay to just draw 3. So I had the free triggered ability to move. I investigated once, working a hunch. That leaves me with the 2 actions to draw 3. Okay. Emergency cash, gather intel, vicious blow. Back over here. I mean, I said it, I'm just going to do it. We will fire away with the twin 45s at 4 to 3. Now, do I want to start using our ability finally? I think we do. I think we're going to throw this overpower into the mix, taking a direct damage using our free triggered ability. So that puts us at, again, 4, 6 to 3. First action. -1. Very good. 2 damage. Now, we will draw the card first, and then we will shuffle this back in. Our ability is, after the test resolved, shuffle the card back in. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and spend the other ammo, and we're going to test at 4 to 3. Use the manual dexterity. Yeah. We'll use the manual dexterity and go 6. Very good. And now we have another weapon finally. So it's probably high time that we play it. Meat Cleaver. This is a weapon that lets us fight at +1. I can't play it yet. We have one more ammo left on the Isabelle Twin 45s. I mean, I could play it. It just means that I will not get full value. So let's not play it. What else do we have to play then? Really nothing. We can just start drawing some more cards. But yeah, this card lets us fight with our combat, get +1 or +2 if I have 3 or fewer remaining sanity. That is 6 horror on me. Lets us heal things. Would have been really good with the combination of here, but you know, only so many hands. Yeah, let's draw some more cards. Hunter's Instinct. So, we have any events to pull? We have the Emergency Cache. I don't think that's worth playing the Hunter's Instinct for. Let's go again and overpower. That's fine. We have 7 cards in hand. We can draw one more in upkeep and not have to discard. So we will indeed go to upkeep. A Resilience for some more soak. And an Emergency Cache again. Now, before we advance, before we go to the next round, we have to advance. So I have all 6 clues. We may spend them. How do I feel about this? I mean, I know what's coming. I think we do it. So, only investigators at the Orn Library, right? Yes. Okay. All right, we've found Dr. Armitage. We put him into play under any investigator's control. He doesn't take up an ally slot. He's going to go to over to Izzy. Why? Because he gets +1 willpower, which is helpful for her, +1 intellect, also helpful for her for what might be coming. And then it's really the 3/3 soak that I like. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and increase her stats over here, just so we're reminded. And the first action you perform each round does not provoke attacks opportunity. Okay. Next, we put the set-aside Servant of Flame enemy into play at Miskatonic Quad. Well, that will be engaged with Izzy. Then, place 6 clues on the quad. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, find 2 copies of Fire in the discard pile and draw them. Okay. Fire means that it gets to Izzy's location. Nope. Lead investigator. Well, it'll start at Joe's and then go to Izzy's location. We have fire everywhere. And that's it. New act. Skulls are -4. Here we are. We could spend 2 clues as a group to deal 2 damage to an enemy at your location. Free trigger. It's not an action. Can do that as much as we want, no limit. There's also a resign. Objective, if the Servant of Flame is defeated, we advance. So this time, we actually need to do the 10 damage. Yikes. We'll work on it, I suppose. -4s in the bag are a bit scary, but you know what happens next? A Doom on the agenda. A Hellhound. Well, it's a good thing we have something to fight with this Joe. Because Izzy is a bit tied up. Unspeakable Truths. After you discover 1 or more clues, take 1 horror. This is going to stick around until someone can spend some resources. Okay, I guess the horror probably should have been healed a while ago, but it is now. We need a plan. Joe also could have gathered intel, but I don't think it's necessary. We're going to use our machete. We're going to hopefully pass. We use our vicious blow. We can move in and start getting some clues. Realistically, if we get all 6 of these clues, then we only need to do 4 damage to the Servant of Flame. That's good. Is that likely? I don't know. All right. There's also this fire. So Izzy is likely going to have to try to pass this test. So let's go for it. Joe is going to take the fight we talked about. Machete. Fight, you get +1 for the attack. If the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, yes, we may exhaust Machete on success to deal +1 damage. All right. So we have 5, we have 6 to 2. That's what we got. -1 works. We are going to exhaust this, deal 3 damage. 2 from Machete, 1 from Vicious Blow. Great. Next, we probably work on getting the clues. So we'll just have to hop in here and take an investigate action. We have 5 on 1. Shroud here is 1. All right, there's 1 clue. We'll take our draw as well. Okay, I got a lot of money. Well, potential, but not super helpful otherwise. Okay, so like the best thing we could do is evade this guy, try to get rid of the fire. We have a lot of cards. All right. We should take some direct horror here. We can evade the Servant of Flame with the Male Dexterity and maybe use the Soul Ink for the fire. Let's try that. Okay, direct horror. We're at 5 to 4. Yikes, that's it. 6 to 4. Don't think we're playing this. 7 to 4. And we hope that works. Action 1. Yay! Okay, Elder Sign. We heal a horror. This guy is evaded. Now we can start doing other stuff. All right. The Mantle Dexterity draws us a card. A Water Protection. Haven't seen those in a bit. This shuffles it. Okay. We must get rid of the fire. So we're going to go up 3. Our Soul Link gives us +3, and we're going to take a horror. So we'll put the horror onto Alexi since it heals right off. And we're up 3. Action 2. That's a bit unfortunate. I was worried about that a bit. Not great. That's action 2. Kind of a waste. We can't... We have the bandages, so maybe it's not the worst thing to fail this. And if we pass anyway, the fire is just coming back. Well, no, it's not. That's a little bit later. Other thing I could do is start fighting with this. I think I probably should. We'll just use the bandages up, I think. So let's go ahead and use the Isabelle's twin 45s to fight the Servant of Flame with our last ammo here. We have 4, and we're up 2. Joe? We could send off the machete here. This is going to be up 3, I believe. Nice. That's 2 damage. We will draw a card. Look what I found is actually kind of good here. And we do 2 damage. Okay. End of the investigation phase. Everything with health takes a direct damage. Goodbye, laboratory assistant. Joe takes a damage. Alexi takes a damage. Armitage takes a damage, and so does Izzy. Let's go ahead and heal Izzy's. And I'm not as concerned about Alexi's. And Joe should be fine. Okay. When we go to upkeep, we're going to be readying the Servant of Flame onto Joe, which might be okay because we're going to maybe just use the machete. I don't know. Upkeep. Logan Hastings showing up a little bit too late here. And a Soul Link. Pretty good. All right. 4 to 5. So there is a chance, maybe, till we can get out of this soon. A bystander. You're in the wrong place for sure. And this makes it so their machete doesn't really work. Now, the parlay doesn't provoke attacks, so it might be okay. Let's see what happens over here. A Cosmic Evils. All right. Peril. Revelation must either place a doom on the current agenda, which advances it immediately, or we take a direct damage and direct horror and move to a new encounter card. I don't think it's the doom that's killing us here, so we're going to go ahead and take the doom, advancing the agenda. Okay. The 4 set aside copies of fire are already in the discard pile, and we're going to test agility. 2 to 3 for Joe. All right, -4, we take a 1 damage. Fine. Over here, 3 to 3. These things are better used in the actual enemy phase here, or the investigator phase. All right, we fail. We take a damage. Okay. Interesting. We also had an enemy into the location. I feel like I forgot about that again, but I'm not willing to retcon that here. Okay. We probably can take the parlay and then maybe machete this guy. Getting attacked back is kind of bad. But I need to play the meat cleaver still. And getting the clues, it will be useful. Problem is like doing an evasion. Like Izzy could engage evade. Yeah. All right. Izzy will go first. Izzy will heal, engage, and then we're going to evade with probably let's use the soul link that's here. Direct horror. This is going to be 6 to 4. You know what Izzy forgot to do? Izzy forgot to just play this War of Protection. That would have been fine. But you know what? We'll use it for the next one. Okay. Up to... Could commit another one. I think Joe wants to hold on to this card. Up to. No. All right. That's bad. And we need to take another horror to have played this, which would have gone on Armitage. All right. We'll shuffle this in, and we're going to have to do another one from the discard pile, I think. Or no, from our hand. Maybe we need to start getting these back in. But I can't... That's right. That was from the discard pile. That's her ability. Okay. Now we use the one from hand and hope that this is good enough. And we might be in the place where we have to use the ward or something. So up 3 covers more. I'm okay doing this. Okay, so 6, 7 to 4. This game is very funny. All right. Not a great turn. We wanted to use this Look What I Found, but now I think that it opens Joe up to at least doing something here. Okay, let's parlay with the bystander. We can use the gather intel and go up 3. Nope. These guys are hard to talk to. We go again up 2. There's the bystander. Okay, and then I think we just have to investigate at 5-on-1. Okay. So we get our clue, we draw a card, and we're going to just spend these 2 to do 2 damage. Okay. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's getting a little rough here. We're going to be taking some fire here. Fire, 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 fire. We're going to have to heal some of this. In fact, I think we heal the Izzy and Alexi fire. Bandages goes away. No uses left. All right, this is going to go back to Joe, which is not the greatest place for it, but maybe we can do something. We'll find out. Upkeep. Perception would have been awesome for that bystander a second ago. Aha! The Cloak of Resonance. Our savior. I think so. I think that's going to be pretty good. We put Wound Doom in the agenda. We need to place another fire out, but we've been sitting in fire for a while, so this doesn't matter too much. Fire is going to go to a nearest location, which can be over there. All right. Encounter card, a Cosmic Evils. Sure, I mean, more fire. The whole campus is on fire. I'm choosing that because the direct damage and horror and a new encounter card is probably just worse. A Canter of Flame. We just never got a chance to put a weapon into play, huh? Now this guy has Retaliate, which is bad, and he also has just 1 damage. So, theoretically, how are we going to do the remaining 6? There's 4 clues here. The Look What I Found can get 2. Joe theoretically can get 2 eventually. And then we need so that's 4. Then we just need 2 more damage, which could just be the Meat Cleaver plus the cloak. I could evade this guy. Actually, we can just play this. The first action does not provoke attack opportunity. Problem is with Joe. So let's just pretend that I do this. If we played this, we could take 2 actions to fight at 4/4. Pretty bad. We can take some horror to commit like an overpower or soul link. Only once. I think our best action, a course of action actually is Look What I Found. The problem with that is I could actually pass accidentally. I could just kill the Canter of Flame though. This will give me 4/2. The Broken Bottle's here to commit. Like, we really drew the wrong cards here. Maybe taking the Cosmic Evils would have been better. I mean, Joe doesn't flat out die if we just do nothing on his turn. It might just be wiser to do that. Okay. First action. I mean, we're going to heal the whore. First action. I believe what we really need to do here is play the weapon. So that's 3 resources. I'm very tempted to just play this as well. I think I should. We can take a damage onto us here. We have, ooh, this is going to get scary. We have no bandages left, huh? Okay. Well, that's 2 more resources, or 3 more resources. And then we're going to use the Meat Cleaver, taking a horror here. I'm going to ping the Servant of Flame with that. Horror is placed on here. And we're fighting the Canter. We have 4/2 with Retaliate. We have 5/2 with Retaliate. We have... Gosh, man, the icons here are tough. Are we ever playing Logan? Doubtful. 6/2. Oh, this game is crazy sometimes. Okay, let's just check our math here. I had 4, 5, 6-2. All right. We defeated an enemy. We heal 1 horror. I'm not worried. I mean, I'm worried about the damage now, suddenly. Okay. Um. Yikes. I think we have to pass on our turn, or we play the resilience or something. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. That's just a 2-2 right there. I think we have to pass on our turn. And just hope we don't take any more damage. Okay. 1 direct damage. 1 direct damage. Armitage is done. 1 direct damage. All right. Joe takes 2 and 2. He's not dead yet, folks. He's not dead yet. We go to upkeep. More things that would have been better a long time ago. That's pretty good. Okay. There's no more to be placed. Fire. Canter flame. Okay. That's fine. Bystander. So at the very least, Joe can get rid of the bystander, right? That is something he can do. He can spend like his whole turn just doing that. The canter doesn't matter. Although we could fight it at 5-on-2. I mean, yeah. Okay. We got to get rid of that guy. 6-on-2 for the bystander. Parlays don't provoke attacks. -4 is certainly a token. We draw a card of the perception. Okay. Sword and Blade needs 5 damage. The 5 damage has to come from an attack, a cloak, and maybe a couple clues. So I think we die no matter what because of the fire. So I think we have to pass on our actions here. As cool as it would be to try like a machete attack here, like we could go up 4, maybe. This is 5, 6. I mean, with unexpected courage, we could get another good hit. Ooh. I guess we should try that, huh? Yeah. Okay. No, this doesn't do extra. Right, but I only need 1. I only need 1 damage. It's worth it. Okay, Logan puts us at 6. Unexpected courage puts us at 8. This is the wrong person to draw, but that's okay. We're going to take the 1 damage. Okay. I don't think we chance that again for our third action because it would be bad if we failed. Okay. So now, now we need to do, this is gone. We need to do the meat cleaver. So all we need to do is 2 shots, maybe the clues. This is stressful. If we fail in the clues, it's really, really good. I'm at 2-1. I think it's worth it. 2-1 and investigate here. All right. That's a clue for Izzy. She takes a horror, which was part of the point here. So that gets up to 2, and we do an extra damage here. That was horrific. So now what I need to do is like pass both tests. Or I investigate and get another one. Okay. 2 actions left. We just have to run it here. We do another investigate. And this should get us enough for the extra 2 damage. Okay. We want to save our ability for the last hit. So it doesn't matter if we pass or fail. we just hit the button. Okay. We fail by 2. So we spend our 2 resources. We'll take another horror, I suppose. I don't know. We heal the damage or something. We get the 2 clues um, over here. And then we're going to spend 2 to do 2 more damage. And I have 1 action left. And thank God that that was the autofill on the previous token, because now we're going all in on the meat cleaver. I couldn't have got myself to whatever sanity that was, but she doesn't die. It's only Joe who's going to die if we fail this. So we're going to commit a soul link because that's the best thing we got. Taking a horror here. And we would take the test. We have 7 to 4. Anything to commit? Nope. Let's go. Yay! All right. All right. That's the one damage we need for 10. Oh my goodness, that was extremely difficult. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. But that's it. We do advance. And just in the nick of time, resolution 1. We go to our thing here. We're going to read resolution 1. We record in the campaign log that we defeated the masked pursuer. Choose an investigator to become the bearer of Dr. Henry Armitage. I probably should have given it to Joe with the ways to get clues. That was a bit of a mistake, maybe. Anyway, I'm not sure who's going to take. Maybe Joe gets him in this next scenario. We get 3 bonus experience, so it's a total of we're looking at 4 experience. We have 2 from the Servant of Flame, 1 from the Orne Library, 1 from the Science Hall, and plus 3 is 7. Okay, we must now decide. Stay and fight the fire, or there's no time, we have to go. All right, I believe we have to get out of here. I don't think we can take the physical trauma from all of this nonsense. So I think we're going to move to the next scenario, having chosen to let Miskatonic University burn. We each now get 1 mental trauma, and we move to scenario 2. So with our 7 XP, we can choose to spend it or save some of it to upgrade our decks, since we were, doing pretty well here, but we could use a little bit of help. So now we can look at all of the level 1 through 5 cards and see what we might want to afford in these particular decks. I don't know what those things would be, but I think we'll play it through for the next scenario and you'll see what I've decided in the meantime. I hope you enjoyed. What you do now is you just throw all the cards in a giant pile, you set them on fire, and never play with them again. So, I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned a few things. I'm sure I may have made a mistake here and there. Feel free to comment. That's all for me. Bye.